Dolphins fans? Welcome into Dolphins Today. I am Will Scott here to bring you the latest Miami Dolphins news and rumors. But before we get into today's show, help me get to 35,000 subscribers. We've been talking about it for the last couple of days. We're getting closer. Help me get there by the end of today. Go down, subscribe to the channel. Need 95 more. We're that close to a pretty big milestone here at Chat Sports. Like I said, today's show all about the latest Dolphins news and rumors. And a couple of y'all were asking me in the comments yesterday about Terron Armstead. We did receive an update after yesterday's show on Armstead from Mike McDaniel. He said he feels good about where Terron is at. Said he was, quote, pretty close to playing against San Francisco. We certainly could have used him against the Niners in that loss. Expects him to get some work at practice this week. So when I hear that he was pretty close to playing against San Francisco, that makes me feel like he's on track to play on Sunday night against the Chargers. And this is what the offensive line could look like. Now, there's a pretty big question mark in regards to Eric Fisher if he can get back into game shape in the next week. Keep in mind, he hasn't been with the team all year. Yeah, they just signed him, but it's going to take some time to ramp him back into game shape. I mean, keep in mind, when the Dolphins signed Brandon Shell earlier this season, it took him about, 2 weeks to get on the active roster. So we'll see. Obviously, this is a little bit different because Shell signed with the practice squad and then was elevated. Eric Fisher's immediately on the 53-man. But this is what the offensive line, I think, is going to look like by year's end, and that offensive line looks a lot better than it did before. Who do you think should start at right tackle for the rest of the season? Should it be Brandon Shell or should it be Eric Fisher? I got to give props to Brandon Shell. Yeah, he could have been better against the Niners, but overall he's done a serviceable job at that position. He's been far better than Eichenberg, than maybe even Austin Jackson, some other guys we've seen at that position. But at the same time, Eric Fisher has 9 years of starting experience, former number 1 overall pick, spent a lot of time obviously with the Chiefs, won a Super Bowl there, started last season for the Colts. I really like Fisher. He was a guy that we were talking about as a possible target for months, and now the Dolphins have finally signed him. And a lot of y'all were in the comments yesterday saying, Will, why was this not done weeks ago? You couldn't have said it any better. This should have been done a while ago, but better late than never, right, Producer Seeps? Yeah, they bring in a pretty good right tackle. I'm pretty excited. Now, I say right tackle. He's probably going to play that. He's been a left tackle for most of his career. I would say start Brandon Shell at right tackle this week, and then still have Eric Fisher on the roster kind of as the backup swing tackle instead of Greg Little. But then going forward, I think Eric Fisher is the better option to be protecting Tua Tagovailoa's blind side. It's a pretty solid duo you'd have at the tackle position. Terron Armstead on the left side, Eric Fisher on the right side. Both those guys, seasoned vets that have been very good throughout their career, but because Eric Fisher has not been with the team and you just picked him up, I would expect Brandon Shell to start there this week, who again has been pretty good at that spot. This next topic is interesting, and perhaps why y'all clicked on today's video. Should the Dolphins claim Baker Mayfield off of the waiver wire later today? We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. He asked for his release from the Panthers yesterday. So the Panthers released him, but he asked for his release. He understands he's probably not going to get the starting job back in Carolina, and the Panthers have been a dumpster fire all year. Now, Tua Tagovailoa suffered a minor ankle injury last week, did not return. He's expected to start and be fine for the game on Sunday night. But Teddy Bridgewater, to his backup, he's been banged up. He's been inactive the last several weeks. Skylar Thompson really isn't proven to be a solid number 2 in the league. He threw an interception, his only pass attempt last week, has struggled in his last couple of appearances. I like Skylar, but I don't know if he is proven right now that he can be a solid number 2 option behind Tua. I don't hate the possibility of bringing in Baker Mayfield. It makes some sense if Teddy Bridgewater is really injured and if Teddy's not going to be 100% the rest of the season. I mean, Baker Mayfield is a solid backup option, a guy that has won as a starting quarterback in the NFL. I'll talk more about my thoughts in a second. First, I want to tell you about our new friends over at Rocket Money. And as you can see on this app, they're going to tell you what your subscription plans are looking like. I cannot keep track of the number of subscriptions I have right now. Rocket Money is taking care of me. They've saved me a lot of money on these unwanted subscriptions. That's why I love using Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. The app shows all your subscriptions in one place and then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't even know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for a subscription. To cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Go to rocketmoney.com/DolphinsChat. That is the link right there. rocketmoney.com/DolphinsChat. Seriously, it could save you hundreds per year. I got an alert from them yesterday that I had a Disney Plus subscription. And I'm like, I do? Well, turns out that I paid for Disney Plus just to watch Elton John's final concert, and I forgot to cancel it. Rocket Money just saved me like $10 this month. Thank you, Rocket Money. They will take care of you with those unnecessary subscriptions. Yes, I'm an Elton John fan. Moving on now, back to that's a great sponsor. I love that sponsor. Let's talk about the Dolphins QB depth chart right now. So this is what it looks like. Again, Teddy's been banged up. Skylar's been QB2 the last several weeks. You have Tua Tagovailoa as QB1. Skylar Thompson is QB3, but he's kind of been the backup the last couple weeks. So if you insert Baker Mayfield into the fold here as QB2, I like the way the depth chart would look. Anthony DeMoro, who's a content creator in Miami, has 77,000 Twitter followers. This tweet got some buzz yesterday. Dolphins should be considering Baker Mayfield. They loved him during the draft process, and Skylar Thompson is an awful safety net for Tua. Tua gets dinged up, Mayfield there for relief. Not a bad situation for Miami. And I agree with Anthony. I think you need a solid option behind Tua Tagovailoa. I think when you look at this depth chart right now, it's solid, but with Teddy banged up, there's some uncertainty with Skylar Thompson is if he can be the backup. So, Tua has been a little bit injury prone throughout his career. So I do like the idea of bringing in Baker Mayfield. And look, here's the thing with Baker. Yeah, he struggled this year in Carolina, but he was in a terrible situation under Matt Rule and Ben McAdoo. Ben freaking McAdoo was his offensive coordinator. It's hard to have success in the situation he was in. Yes, he struggled last year in Cleveland, but he was not 100%. To be quite frank, he probably shouldn't even have played until he was healthy last year in Cleveland, but he kept going out there and playing when he was not 100%. But the year previously in Cleveland, he had an unbelievable season, led the Browns to the playoffs for the first time in over 20 years. Think about all the quarterbacks that the Browns have taken in the draft, first round, free agency, whatever, that have failed. There is one quarterback in Cleveland the past 2 decades that has had success. That's Baker Mayfield. Adam Schefter said this: former Panthers QB Baker Mayfield is expected to be claimed on waivers today. The team that claims him will inherit the remaining $1.35 million on his contract, and the Dolphins do have enough cap to make that work. Mayfield is unlikely to land in San Francisco, the team he's been linked to a lot. Kyle Shanahan said, we will look into everything, but that would surprise me right now. Now, the reason that's unlikely is not because the Niners don't want him. It's because the Niners are 27th in the waiver order. Well, guess who's right in front of them? The Dolphins. So Kyle Shanahan does not believe that Baker Mayfield is going to fall to 27th in the waiver order. He thinks the team that is ahead of them is going to get him. Here are some of those possible teams. The Niners, I think, make the most sense because Jimmy Garoppolo's out for the year, and Brock Purdy's not going to be facing Josh Boyer every week. So that's something to keep in mind for them. Yes, Purdy looked good, but the Dolphins' defense has really struggled on the road this season. Is that a one-hit wonder performance? I don't know. The Houston Texans, it'd be more of a why-not move. I mean, the Texans right now are the worst team in the league, as we saw not too long ago when they faced Miami. The Colts, their quarterback situation is atrocious. The Rams, Matthew Stafford might not even play again this year. And then the Dolphins, maybe bringing him in as a backup might make some sense. Do you want to claim Baker Mayfield? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know down in the comment section. I'm curious to hear what y'all think. It is the pinned comment. Reply to it when that break comes. I would be surprised if it happened. Even if the Dolphins were higher up in the waiver order, I would be pretty surprised if it happened. But they're 24th. He's probably going to get, claimed by a team like the Colts, kind of middle of the pack in the waiver order. So I'd be pretty surprised. And I don't think the Dolphins would want to claim him because if you do, you'd have 4 quarterbacks on the roster. That would complicate some things. But the waiver wire as is at, 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 3 o'clock Central. So which team will claim him? We will certainly find out at the end of the day. Adam Schefter saying he is going to get claimed. Want to hit on this before we go. Barry Jackson tweeted, Dolphins linebacker Jaelan Phillips, who continues to do very good work in the community, is the team's nominee for the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award. NFL announced nominees for all 32 teams right now. Congratulations to JP. So he is one of the nominees here for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. That's just fantastic news. I mean, it's pretty rare for a guy in his second season in the league to be a Man of the Year nominee. So that tells you a lot about the charity work and the community work that JP has done the last year and a half. Here is what the Dolphins said in their press release about him being nominated. Since being drafted by the Miami Dolphins in 2021, Phillips has sought every opportunity to positively impact the South Florida community and beyond, from working with incarcerated youth to tackling homelessness, cancer and disease awareness, youth mentorship, and supporting underserved communities. Phillips has set himself apart in just his second season through the inclusivity of his efforts and his intentional investment in marginalized communities and people in need. He learned about the opportunity to participate in the Dolphins Challenge Cancer event, benefiting Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center his rookie year, and found inspiration in his family's own battles with cancer. He signed up for the 100-mile ride, inspiring others to ride and fundraise. He totaled more than $3,000 and became one of the first 2 players to ever ride the 100-mile. This year, Phillips joined the Dolphins Challenge Cancer Executive Board. He will again participate in the 100-mile ride, while also adding a leadership role in awareness, fundraising, and growth of the event. Phillips has also visited Alex Place at the Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center to meet pediatric and adult cancer patients inspired by the direct beneficiaries of DCC Fund. So that is coming from the Dolphins about the work that JP has put in the community the last 2 years. Jaelan Phillips tweeting this moments ago. Wow, thank you so much for this honor. The community work has always been about inspiring change and trying to make a difference, but receiving this nomination means the world to me. Fins up. That's awesome, man. Shout out to JP. We've seen on his IG, we've seen on the Dolphins social media the work that he's done, but it's also what he's doing behind the scenes as well, the things that we haven't really been hearing about. He's going above and beyond to serve the community that he's playing professional football in, but also where he played college football at the U. Type JP in the chat to congratulate Jaelan Phillips, the Dolphins linebacker, for his Walter Payton Man of the Year nomination. And be sure to go down and subscribe to the channel. If Baker Mayfield gets claimed, you best know we're going to get you guys a video.